Thank you very much. Welcome to The Tonight Show. My name is Jimmy Fallon, and that's the Roots right over there, everybody. Well, guys, as I mentioned earlier, Ruth Bader Ginsburg's passing dominated the news this weekend. Even President Trump seemed genuinely saddened when he heard about it. I actually thought we were finally seeing a more empathetic Trump until he addressed the open Supreme Court seat at his rally 24 hours later.
So I have to make a decision to fill the seat, as we say. We should have a new campaign. Let's make a T-shirt, fill the seat, okay? That's a good idea. Fill the seat.
And when you see that, it's hard to believe Trump hasn't been asked to give the eulogy. Trump can be somber for about 15 seconds, then he's like,
Do you think they'll have bagel bites at the reception?
what is he doing? Why do all of his rallies, why do they all have chants? He's the president, not the host of an infomercial.
Fry that chicken!
You don't want a room of people chanting during a pandemic. Seriously, at that point, even the coronavirus puts on its coat and is like, I don't want to be part of this. Okay, good day to you, son. But if you thought Trump was joking, look at what popped up on his website over the weekend. Yeah, the Trump campaign is now selling Fill That Seat T-shirts. Seriously, someone just passed away and he's leading chants and selling T-shirts like they just clinched the American League East. When people said it was in bad taste, Trump was like,
Good call. Let's also print on some college shirts, class it up.
Here's some advice. If you're wondering how to deal with a job opening after someone dies and you find yourself on a custom T-shirt website, you've made a wrong turn. Even long-haul drivers with truck nuts were like, that's just crude and unnecessary. But it's true, Trump is hoping to fill the seat soon, and he even offered some details on who he's thinking about filling it with.
I will be putting forth a nominee next week. It will be a woman.
Trump said that like he was announcing the gender of the next royal baby. Hear ye, it will be a woman. This is actually good news, because usually when you hear Trump, judge, and woman in the same sentence, it's because he's being sued again. And this morning on Fox and Friends, Trump was asked if he knew which day he'd announce a nominee. And watch this.
I think it'll be on Friday or Saturday, and we want to pay respect. It looks like we will have probably services on Thursday or Friday, as I understand it. I think, due respect, we should wait till the services are over. Mm-hmm.
That's right. We want to be very respectful. I even asked Kid Rock to record an acoustic version of Bawa Da Ba to be played during the funeral.
Yeah, they're trying to be respectful. That's why for the next hour, Trump's knocking 20% off all Fill That Seat merchandise. So act now. Trump is being very respectful, but when asked about Justice Ginsburg's dying wish for the next president to choose her successor, here's what he had to say.
Well, I don't know that she said that, or was that written out by Adam Schiff and Schumer and Pelosi. I would be more inclined to the second. Okay, that came out of the wind. It sounds so beautiful. But that sounds like a Schumer deal, or maybe a Pelosi or Shifty Schiff.
Well, that was an interesting way of paying respects, wasn't it? Over the weekend, Republican senators like Ted Cruz, Mitch McConnell, and Lindsey Graham said they plan to move forward with a vote on Trump's nominee. However, that contradicts what they said back in 2016 when President Obama nominated Merrick Garland to close to an election. Listen to this.
There is a long tradition that you don't do this in an election year.
The Senate will appropriately revisit the matter when it considers the qualifications of the nominee the next president nominates.
I want you to use my words against me. If there's a Republican president in 2016 and a vacancy occurs in the last year of the first term, you can say, Lindsey Graham said, let's let the next president, whoever it might be, make that nomination.
Sure, the Olympics were canceled this year, but at least we have the Republicans to show off some truly spectacular backflips. Republicans are just constantly changing the rules as they go. It's like playing a board game with a toddler. It's like, I rolled a 2 and I'm wearing blue, so I win. And now, because he completely changed his position, people are calling Mitch McConnell spineless. Can we see Mitch McConnell? Yeah. Spineless. Based on that, I'm pretty sure he's boneless. We're already in the middle of a global pandemic, racial unrest, and a cratering economy. Now there's going to be a fight over an open Supreme Court seat. At this rate, next week's debate will be about how to handle the current alien invasion. 2020 really is insane. To put things in perspective, the biggest news of 2019 was Baby Yoda. Seriously, this election already felt like a tense Thanksgiving dinner. Now it's like your uncle just rolled in straight from rehab. Now, Trump says he'll announce his Supreme Court pick Friday or Saturday. Before he does that, though, he's been calling up all the finalists to let them know that they didn't get the job. Check out this leaked audio.
Chad, I can't have someone on the Supreme Court with a beard like yours. You look like a college freshman who's experimenting with his look over winter break. But even a college freshman knows to shave it off when the selfie doesn't get enough likes. Son, I love you, but we can't have someone on the Supreme Court who has the same energy as a guy who offers you cocaine in the bathroom of a Buffalo Wild Wings. I just think those robes would be too heavy on you, Jared. Put him on and you'll crumble to the floor like the witch from Wizard of Oz. My pillow guy, you are maybe the smartest person who has ever lived, besides me. And I think that you could have made a wonderful judge presiding over some wonderful pillow-based cases, but unfortunately, you're, how should I put this, a borderline insane man. Hey, me, it's me calling. Hello, I love what you do, big fan. Likewise. I think you're the most qualified person on earth to be in the Supreme Court. Wow, what an honor to be nominated by you, me.
And finally, the most important thing Americans can do is vote, and it looks like we're getting some help from somewhere you wouldn't expect. Watch this.
Foot Locker is turning thousands of their stores into voter registration sites just 6 weeks before the election.
It's perfect because when a fight breaks out, there'll be 40 people dressed like referees to handle it.
On and on and on. I said, and it's on.